Hello everyone, welcome to today's webinar presented by Imaginet. My name is Juliette Greenberg and I will be moderating today's presentation. Please note, the poll results you'll be seeing today were derived from our live presentation held on February 1st with cutoday.info. So to start things off, we have our first poll. And the question is, when are you planning on implementing a digital strategy? Please select one of the five answers and we'll review the answers in just a moment. So let's get started. Today's topic is effectively meeting members and employees' digital expectations. I'd like to introduce you to today's speakers. Today we have Aaron Kowal, Principal Consultant of ALM and Application Development. We also have Jeremiah Walker, Principal Consultant, Business Productivity Platforms. And we also have Ben Sept, Principal Consultant, Voice and Collaboration. Next, we'll hear from Aaron on the results of the poll.
So just to reflect on the poll, when are you planning on implementing a digital strategy? This is very typical of what we're seeing, where organizations already have a digital strategy defined that they're executing on, or they're 1 to 2 years away from having one. They, it's something that they know they need, but are still working on. So just a little bit about Imaginet. So Imaginet was established in '97, so we're just over 20 years old, and we provide services across North America. We don't sell products generally. We're predominantly a services company, and we specialize in delivering services across the Microsoft platform. We're a Microsoft Gold partner across many competencies. Some of the ones applicable today are collaboration and content, communications, cloud platform, and application development. Imaginet doesn't specialize in any particular industry vertical. We tend to be more technology specialists. However, we do have significant experience with working with credit unions, and here's just some of the organizations that we have worked with in the credit union space. So today we're going to talk about credit unions and the modern workplace. So we're going to look at the branch of the future, or the nimble branch, and how organizations can really move towards that model of a very agile modern workplace. So when we talk about the modern workplace, it's usually in concert of a digital transformation exercise at an organization. We want to make the modern workplace very acceptable for employees in terms of their digital expectations, as well as members and the expectations that they have. We want to enable very rich business applications that are really tailored toward the kind of interactions electronically that we're expecting to have with our members. We're going to stand up new applications and infrastructure, often leveraging the cloud or cloud technologies, again, so that we can extend that footprint of capability outside of the organizational firewall. And we're going to really try and leverage data and artificial intelligence moving forward to really improve the decision-making for the credit union organization. And the reason why these digital transformation exercises are happening is organizations like credit unions are really looking to empower their employees. So they want to give them capabilities that they can take outside of the branch office, be able to perform activities kind of when and where they want to or need to perform those activities. We want to improve our engagement with members to digital channels, again, outside of the branch or kind of beyond the face-to-face engagements we have today. We want to optimize our operations. We want to make things more automated where automation might be helpful, and we want to decrease the amount of energy that we're expending to support our electronic platforms. And last, these digital transformation exercises really allow us to transform our products and services that we offer our members and that we use as employees to, again, take advantage of the changes that are happening in the digital world. At Imaginet, we've done a fair bit of thinking of what the modern credit union or the branch of the future looks like. And really, there's four main parts that we see. First is maintaining that connection with members. That is the core of the credit union. We want to be able to access business intelligence, right? We want to make use of some of the data that we've got on our members, on our services, and use that to really refine how we're engaging our members, how we're connecting with them, what's being effective and what's not being as effective in terms of member engagement. We want to gather member feedback, right? We want to, again, be focused on that user, on that member. And ideally, we want to create personalized member experiences. When I'm dealing with organizations now, I'm not necessarily expecting a standard experience that everyone else has when I engage with that organization. I expect there to be some personalization so that I'm getting the services that are relevant to me, and I'm not being bombarded with information that isn't applicable to me or my situation. We want to track member information, right? So we want to track, what is that journey that members go through to acquire services from the credit union. And then we can customize our promotions, our offerings, our services based on that member information. So often that really involves, CRM systems, customer relationship management systems, where we can get that full view of all of our interactions with a member and how that member's experience in that interaction was. We also want to improve the scenario of a member actually needing to interact with an expert at the credit union. So we want to increase the number of channels that can occur and make it easier for the member to have that experience. So it could be that we want to use video conferencing technology so that members can meet instantly face-to-face over electronic means, or at the branch. If that member doesn't have to be available at that branch, they can engage using technology to a member that might be at a different branch office, but we're not sending the member to that other branch. We can provide directory services so that our members can find that expert through a public app. And we want to make it easy to set up meetings where that member does want to have a face-to-face interaction with that expert and does want to have a sit-down meeting. We want to make it really simple for that member to find that expert and arrange and schedule the time for that meeting as seamlessly as we can so that, again, we're not using a lot of their energy. And then the last area that we see as part of the modern credit union is really the move towards that we've been seeing for the last 20 years, the move towards a more paperless office or paperless organization. And we're seeing a lot of value being driven by having digital signatures on file and being able to interact with members electronically and being able to perform those transactions electronically, which doesn't require members to come to the office to sign paperwork or courier paperwork back to the office, etc. And even where a member is directly interacting with an employee of a credit union, we want to make it easy for them to perform that quickly, whether it's a signature on a tablet device or whatever, have any pertinent documentation emailed to them, and we can perform all this action electronically, which just opens more avenues for some automated workflows and other actions to take place immediately, as opposed to waiting for the paperwork to catch up to the business process.
Great, thanks, Aaron. We've actually come up to our next poll. The next poll question is, do you have access to everything you need when you work remotely? The answers are yes, no, or no remote work capability. The answers we received during the live webinar were 59% yes, 27% no, and 13% of the attendees did not have any remote work capability. Ben, would you like to speak more on this?
Actually,
Jeremiah.
As you can see from the results of the poll, not only how we work, as Aaron was alluding to, but where we work has changed greatly over the last 12 years. In a New York Times article in 2016, during a survey, 43% of Americans responded that they had spent at least a portion of their time during their work week working remotely. This represents a 4% increase since the last time that survey was executed in 2012, and we think it accurately depicts a reflection of the current needs of the modern job seeker. This is great for employees, really empowering for them, and it really does open up a lot of benefits to you as the credit union that's empowering those employees. But with that empowerment also does come some issues that didn't exist previously. Now you're bogged down with the maintaining of many systems. Security maintenance is a requirement that's being currently provided by the credit union. In addition to this, you have reliability issues in regards to the securing of customer and member data. A solution that many credit unions have implemented to reduce this threat is Office 365 to provide a standard cloud solution, as Aaron was describing. As part of the Microsoft Office 365 solution, your credit union will receive many standard applications that would make a seamless integration point in any instances during an acquisition of future branches or integration with other credit unions, providing a secure and reliable business-to-business platform for you and your team members. As part of this, credit union employees will be able to have secure access to critical member information without the need for VPN or other security requirements. Anywhere access on any device through the browser will not only lead to improved employee productivity and efficiency, but it will allow you, as Aaron was saying, to look at opportunities to automate the business processes that will help improve the interaction, not only in between coworkers, in between branch-to-branch relationships, but most importantly, when interacting with the credit union member. This breaking down of silos will allow for the opportunity for cross-departmental sales and promote collaboration, once again, in between credit union and branches. For one example, we had a customer that was trying to manage multiple branches throughout central Manitoba. There was a basic need to provide remote support and access of communication of critical credit union and member information. We were able to partner with this credit union and implement a solution on the SharePoint Online application on Office 365 to allow for secure collaboration from a central point without any need for extra infrastructure investment. We no longer had to stand up an external site to manage relationships and promote that business-to-business application to help us truly become and promote the branch of the future. What we were able to do was leverage a standard cloud solution with out-of-the-box capabilities to truly support and promote the interaction with our coworkers and our members. We could also expand upon this, as Aaron's saying, with many new standard applications to help automate and reduce very redundant and repetitive tasks. Microsoft Office 365 provides features like bots for teams and Flow to help automate manual information requests. These type of innovations will not only improve the efficiency of your employees, but it will help to reduce errors and help the credit union to start to develop a 360-degree view of each individual member. This 360-degree view of each member is critical to the digital transformation for your credit union. This 360-degree view of the member will help you to start to develop an understanding for the unique needs of each one of your members. You'll have access to sales records, product applications, and leverage these opportunities to identify potential services to help further develop the member relationship. As part of your digital transformation, you'll have the ability to continually refine the engagement method and model implemented for your member services, but also target, as Aaron was saying, that true member experience for the products and offerings that you're presenting to each unique member. When we reach a point where the credit union can foresee a potential service for a member before the member actually has a need for that service, that's what we at Imaginet like to term as exceptional service. As part of this exceptional service, your employees will receive a benefit in an improved work-life balance by being able to access secure information and processes from anywhere on any device. This will also lead to an increased productivity for you and your credit union, and these type of benefits can be a real differentiator when it comes to potential employees for your credit union. But ultimately, this digital transformation is focused on one thing, as Aaron was saying, and that is improving and nurturing the member experience. When our members are more likely to increase their service portfolio and recommend our services to other friends and family, that's when we know who we have really developed our relationship and we are providing true value to each member. As we continue on our journey of our digital transformation, the next component we look at is how we engage with our members. We're going to look at this digital transformation for member engagement with Ben, and he's going to take us along this next step of our journey.
Thanks, Jeremiah. Today's credit union members are living in a digital world. So can they relate to the services you're providing them today? I think that's a really loaded question. When I look at my own experience with my credit union, I know they want to engage me more. They're asking me to come in and meet with them directly, set up different lines of credit, or setting up my retirement fund, looking at how I can save more money and work with them more. And I know that they want to be more involved with me. But generally that means being there face-to-face, sitting down with them numerous times, and going through different reports that they've generated at the beginning of every time they've met. When I look at consumers today, consumers of any product are looking for quick and easy answers and commoditized solutions. For instance, if I'm looking for a washing machine, I do all of my research and I generally make my decision before I've ever left the house. And that's assuming I even leave the house and don't purchase it just there on the website. So to compete with this new type of member, credit unions need to engage their members where they are today, finding them on social media and marketing directly to them, working with ratings and getting reviews, engaging in providing services from their website that traditionally are only done in person. As Jeremiah alluded to, by moving to the cloud, credit unions can spend less time focusing on their core infrastructure and then focus those energies and expenses that are used for maintaining that infrastructure into those new technologies. And Imaginet believes that the same platform that empowers your employees can also be used to engage your members. The branch of the future can then utilize these resources formally for their infrastructure to better connect with the new generation of member. Technologies to make business easier by extending the business outside of that branch. Reviewing product, having product expert profiles in an app and being able to review those as a member, or even schedule appointments and meet directly from that mobile app with that person that they've found. Meeting members in person, maybe in their home or in a coffee shop, and having that technology with you as an employee to engage your members where they are. And technologies to modernize business. So as alluded prior, by Aaron, digital signatures that we can do in SharePoint, utilizing bots and adding chats and communications to our websites that can then be pulled through and recorded in CRM with that member every step of the way and every channel that they use for communicating with us. And utilizing Power BI dashboards to provide members a better understanding of their business, their accounts, loans, mortgages, and retirement savings in real time, not just at the beginning or in the planning sessions for when they choose to go forward with that type of an account. Technologies to engage clients to do more business, so messaging via websites, social media accounts, or direct from the mobile app. And Microsoft Office 365 provides the foundation of companies, or for companies like credit unions, to better track the member journey. We're on the next slide. This allows credit unions to centralize its business resources and technologies while extending their reach into their member communities. For instance, Skype for Business can be used for providing video consulting and screen share collaboration with people, whether they're face-to-face, in branches, or separated in two different branches, or if they're working online and directly on that mobile app again. And utilizing SharePoint for digital signatures, again, in the branches or anywhere. So now if I do come in and meet with someone in a credit union and we're going through my mortgage, rather than stepping out and bringing a pile of paper back, they can review everything right on their screen, and I can sign off there, and they can send me an email directly from there so that I have my own record of everything that's taken place without taking that paper back with me. And from this foundation, credit unions can add new utilities to extend their services while still providing omni-channel tracking capabilities. And going back to Skype for Business as an example, rather than just using it for that video collaboration, you can integrate it into your phone system and pull a call center solution on top of that Skype for Business platform, allowing for audio, video, screen sharing, collaboration, and then with that phone system, being able to leverage that omni-channel beyond the call center. So when a call comes in, taking it at the call center, and if that goes to a branch, being able to see that hop to the branch manager and even record all of those different hops beyond the call center in your CRM environment. And simplifying acquisitions as well. If you're purchasing purchasing another credit union, being able to add their Active Directory into your own through our services, and then being able to simply assign them new phone numbers and extend the already active centralized phone system of Skype for Business into their environment. And this is not just for reactive trackability and contact capabilities with omnichannel, but also proactive. I have an example of a friend of mine who went to utilize Air Miles up in Canada to reduce his grocery bill by $100. And he selected yes when that offering was given him there at the grocery store, but for some reason it didn't give him the discount that he was looking for. It, in fact, didn't give him a discount at all. And when he looked into his Air Miles account, he noticed that it had taken the Air Miles out of his account. So he'd spent the Air Miles but not gotten the reduction in price. He made a quick call and found out there was a minimum a couple hours of wait time, and he was going to have to wait in that queue for a long time, or they were willing to call him back. And when he selected that option, it was going to take 2 or 3 days for them to call him back. Out of frustration, my friend decided that was it. It's not worth my time. I took the loss on the Air Miles, but it's just not worth fighting at this point. To his surprise, within a couple of days, he proactively received an email from Air Miles apologizing for the inconvenience. They had noted that he had been trying to call them. They found the issue on his account, and they were able to refund him those Air Miles and put them back into his account. So to summarize, implementing a cloud solution like Microsoft Office 365 through Imaginet provides the foundation to both empower your employees, engage members, and also to help optimize your operations. And before Jeremiah talks about operations, I'll pass it back to Juliet.
Thanks, Ben. We're going to start now with the last poll. Poll number 3, how many applications do you use in a workday? From our previous results of the live presentation, we found that the majority of the people have 5 to 6 applications that they use in a workday, with variations between 3 and 4, all the way up to 9 or more. Next to you, Jeremiah.
Yeah, thanks, Juliet. As we see from the results of our polls, our credit union employees have a lot of systems to juggle during their day-to-day basis. When they're interacting with employees, collaborating with teammates, or working independently, there's a multitude of systems that our credit union employees are interacting with. And Ben said, as part of our digital transformation, we not only want to empower our employees and change the way that we engage with our members, but we want to take a look at these systems and the way that our credit union employees are interacting with them. We want to assess how we operate on a day-to-day basis and look for ways to optimize them. We want to look at at reducing the number of systems that it takes to look up basic member information. In our research, we found that our member-facing credit union employees, on average, use 7 to 9 systems to look up this type of information, and I think the results from the poll really support our research in that statement. This redundancy of customer information in multiple systems, not only does it produce a security risk for this member information, but it also increases the opportunity, as Aaron said in the opening, for human error. Not intentionally, but just human interface errors when interacting with multiple systems, repeating the same information. By reducing the number of systems that our employees are interacting with, we'll have a result in the increased potential opportunity to once again develop the member relationship. When we can spend time interacting and collaborating with our teammates and interfacing with members, instead of digging in systems, we'll be able to focus the credit union energy, as Ben was saying, to help develop and nurture this member relationship. For example, we'll now be able to once again provide the opportunity to take the relationship outside of the branch, really extending that member experience outside of the 4 walls with the branch. This standardization of processes will allow our employees to be confident when interacting with the member that they are providing them with the best products and services. This will result in a seamless and positive experience for our member when interfacing with the credit union. We can leverage this to create a flexible environment that integrates well with third-party solutions. Part of implementing Office 365 is the access to the dedicated mobile applications that the platform provides. Through SharePoint, OneDrive, and Delve, we can leverage these standard mobile applications to provide very common solutions to very high-level business requirements. For example, we had a customer that had over 3,000 retail locations that the employees needed proper benefits notification and communication. We were able to create an application leveraging the SharePoint Online mobile application, SharePoint Online on Office 365, and secure integration to help provide access for corporate communications to provide this benefit information to remote employees. By leveraging the SharePoint Online application on their individual mobile device, we were able to reduce the cost for IT to provide support and implementation of this custom solution. Anytime you're talking about implementing these third-party solutions, support and sustainment are always critical. By providing these standard third-party cloud solutions, this support and maintenance is removed from your internal support teams, allowing you to focus on business user innovation and governance of the applications. No longer are you supporting these products and services. You're now able to focus on improving your member relationship, not supporting legacy applications. The need for the support of these applications does not go away. However, this support is now provided by Microsoft and its partner. This will allow you to focus once again on supporting and nurturing that member relationship between your employees and the actual members. As we continue on our digital transformation, the next step we look at is the products available to our members. Aaron, can you tell us what impact the digital transformation will have on a credit union's products?
Thanks, Jeremiah. Yeah, so we've talked quite a bit about some of the platform pieces and how we can leverage cloud services, cloud platforms, applications to provide that foundation and some of the core capabilities for the branch of the future. I'm going to talk a little bit about how that might impact and shape what our services as a credit union will look like moving forward. Again, these are ideas of what it will look like. I think there will be things that will end up coming out of this that we haven't even anticipated yet. But here's a few things that I think are fairly clearly on the horizon. So the first one, and we've already talked a little bit about the idea of a mobile workforce and meeting employees. So let's meet employees and members where they are. It's become quite clear in the last several years that time is the most valuable asset that most people have. They very much value time over other, other material things, and so it's become the situation where I may, as a business, adopt a model whereby I come to you as my customer or my member. And so today I take advantage of many services that do this. I can shop using e-commerce sites, acquire goods and have them delivered to my home. Again, avoiding me the lengthy trip to a retail location. I do that for groceries. So we're seeing even in a space where e-commerce has been slow to take off, more and more we're seeing e-commerce, grocery delivery services, etc. Food deliveries. We've gone beyond the typical fast food in terms of delivery to a mode where there are services that provide food delivery from essentially any restaurant or catering service that you can imagine. I can order up and have that food delivered to my home. Again, providing that, and even a very entrenched retail sector such as the automotive, we're seeing a movement there whereby I don't have to go to a dealership to arrange a test drive anymore. I can actually contact the dealership chain or the auto manufacturer, and they will arrange to actually have a vehicle brought to me for me to do the test drive. And again, this is businesses recognizing the time constraints that their customer is having. And so, from a credit union perspective, we can empower our employees to meet with members anywhere. So again, the branch of the future could look quite different than today's branch in that I may have a small branch office that has a certain number of services there available that are the more common services, but things that require more expertise or are a little more difficult to do self-serve for customers, such as maybe it's opening a new account, it's retirement savings, it's applying for credit, whether that's a mortgage or some other loan. We can have our employees actually go and meet that member where it's convenient for them, whether it's their office, their home, the coffee shop around the corner. We can access systems from a mobile scenario that really enables that transaction. And mobile in this sense isn't just limited to cell phones and self-service. I'm thinking more of a collaborative mobile experience, like depicted in the picture here, where I've got an employee and a member collaborating together on a device. The member is going through the experience of applying for that new service, and you've got an employee that's providing them guidance and that expertise to make sure that member is in fact confident that they've acquired the correct service for them in that at that time. And again, that can be in person with a tablet-like device. It could be a laptop, or again, it could be a shared screen experience using electronic collaboration, whereby the member is sitting at their office or their home and using a shared screen experience with some expert from the branch who is helping them through that. And so we're now moving into this world where access to systems from mobile devices is critical to providing that service, but we need to do that in a managed way. And security is obviously key here. So we're seeing an evolution in the security space that really can ramp up the capability of securing information, regardless of whether it's inside the branch firewall or the network or it's out mobile. And in fact, we're seeing solutions evolving with cloud security that can even provide often a higher level of security than you're going to get in a traditional mode. So I can use things like advanced threat detection that are available in things like Microsoft Azure Active Directory, and so I can say these services can only be accessed by people who are on a network in my geography where my business runs. So if it's something that I'm providing to employees, I don't want them accessing corporate systems when they're on vacation in Cuba. They only need to do that when they're working with members, and they're only going to be doing that when they're in this geography. So if someone is trying to access a system and they're outside of this geography, deny that request. I can also do things like recognize that if someone is trying to access a system, a login, for example, but that login was just recently activated from a distant geography. User logs into the system, and then someone tries to log in with that same account, 100 miles down the road, 5 minutes later. The technology is able to recognize that that isn't a situation that should be possible, and will can take action to deny that login and or suspend that account for a period, thereby making it quite secure. And there is a whole collection of these advanced security tools that are available with the cloud providers that, as I say, can even provide a heightened level of security over what's there today. And it includes securing the devices, securing the application, and securing the user credentials. So we can secure at all of those levels using these cloud technologies. We want to drive agility through open and connected systems. So the technology industry in general has been moving towards what we call API-based systems. So an API is an application programming interface, which is just a fancy way to say a standard way for different computer applications to talk to other computer applications in a managed, secure way. So most modern systems provide some form of API, and by standardizing on some APIs and standardizing on a stack of software from a small set of vendors, we can create new usage scenarios that have very simple to implement but very rich integrations using several systems. So one example is it is very easy for us to create mobile apps or web apps that interact with systems such as SharePoint or Teams or databases or CRM systems that we can essentially develop with very little or no application coding required to enable very specific usage scenarios. So again, if I'm talking about that new, I need to apply for credit, and that's something that I want to provide my employees with that app that's going to allow that collaborative experience between my employee and that member to go through a new credit application, and again make it very clear to the users as they're going through what decisions they're making, kind of what the criteria that they might want to consider when making those decisions, and have a very targeted flow for that particular purpose. It's very easy to create those kinds of apps with these API-enabled systems. We can also do things with user-specific workflows. So I think we're all familiar with some workflow automated business processes that exist in organizations like credit unions. So we can think of loan approval processes, etc. And those tend to get embedded in our enterprise systems. But what people are more and more expecting is, I want some control over my own workflows that kind of wrap around those corporate workflows. And the way to think about these user-specific workflows is the kinds of things that people are doing with their home automation technology, right? So, I've got a Google Home, I've got some Nest thermostat and some other devices to turn on lights, etc. My music system, and I can create very simple workflows whereby when I come through the door, start by turning up the temperature, turn on some music, turn on a specific set of lights. Depending on the time of day, I might want different music and different lights on. And it's very easy. There's technologies available that make it very easy for things to create those kinds of flows. And we can use those exact same technologies to do things with our business system. So I can have a scenario whereby I have a flow that gets triggered every day, and it checks for any members that have a birthday today, and I would like to send them a happy birthday message. Or every time I receive an email from a particular member or with particular keywords, I want to flow it through this particular workflow in my CRM. Or I might have a scenario whereby every time I send an email to a member, I would like 3 days later to get some kind of notification if I haven't heard back from that member, right? With a certain email that I'm sending. And so I can produce these personal flows to make my own personal work experience more productive in the way that I want. And so it's very powerful to do those things with these API-based systems. We can see the incorporation of artificial intelligence. I'll talk about that a little bit more, but these API-based systems allow us to access data across a variety of systems and aggregate it to do some very interesting things. And it also allows for the potential for creation of bots and voice-assisted integrations. So Ben had mentioned bots earlier, but really what a bot is a computerized assistant. Typically, people think of chat bots, whereby I can, on my website or within a system, I can have a little chat window, and I can have a bot have some intelligence using AI technology to recognize certain phrases or do some natural language parsing to figure out what that member is asking for. And if it's something that the bot is capable of actually providing an answer to, the bot will just simply provide that answer. But if it's something that the bot is incapable of, again, as Ben talked about with the omni-channel communication, that bot can then transition that chat to a human user who is then going to be able to continue on that same conversation thread with the context and everything, so that again it's a seamless transition. And so again, we can use automation and artificial intelligence where it makes sense, but not be limited by it. And then the voice assistant, I may have I've got a Google Home device at home, and I can envision a scenario whereby, maybe I'd like to ask my Google Home what my checking account balance is today. And again, by providing these API-based systems, we enable those kinds of interactions. Or I can, perhaps I'd like to tell it to transfer money from one of my accounts into one of my other accounts that are on my on that I have access to. So, for example, I might need to transfer some money to one of my kids in university, and I could do that through there. So again, making it a very seamless experience for a member. And then last thing I want to talk about a little bit is an area that we see just really exploding in financial services, but in all kinds of sectors, and that's really this notion of data, AI, and machine learning. So data is the new oil. Most organizations are beginning to recognize that they have a lot of data that contains a lot of very, very valuable information for the running of their business and the targeting of services to their customers. And it's becoming quite easy technically to gather and collate data from various sources to create these rich information models. And what we're seeing is organizations starting to move beyond certain artificial intelligence spaces into leveraging those for really around that customer experience or that member experience. So, for example, in the financial services industry, we're all quite familiar with fraud analysis or detection from credit card companies. In fact, I was trying to register for a conference yesterday and got a message from my credit card company saying that asking me if that was indeed me who was doing that transaction. But why couldn't we use that same technology to create algorithms to do analysis of spending or savings characteristics? So I might notice that through data, I might be able to see a trend in certain customers who are moving into a mode of increasing their debt repayment. So certain people at points in their life will focus on different aspects of their financial situation. And so I might notice that someone is making extra debt payments. Maybe they're doing a double up payment on a mortgage. They're paying down some credit card debt or whatever. By detecting that, it might be a situation whereby I can get notification of that as a user, or I can even, again, through AI and bots and workflows, have the system reach out to that person and say, hey, we noticed that you're really focused on debt repayment. Perhaps you'd like to come in and talk to somebody, or click this link and talk to somebody who can maybe help you figure out the most effective way to meet your debt repayment goals. Or I might notice that someone is increasing their savings, right? And again, by having that 360-degree view of that member, as Jeremiah was talking about earlier, I might be able to infer from a variety of data what their savings goals or purposes might be, and again, reach out to that member. So if it's somebody in their 50s who starts increasing their savings, there's a good chance that they're really looking at retirement and starting to really focus their savings on their retirement. And again, that's probably a really good opportunity for the branch to reach out to that member and say, hey, let us help you with your retirement savings. Or it could be someone in their mid-20s who you notice that they're starting to save, or someone in their 30s, and perhaps they're saving for a down payment on a house. And again, what's the best vehicle for them to start to achieve those goals? And then we can start to help people measure against goals. So if I do have a savings goal, I'm trying to save up for a house down payment, and I'd like to do it in the next 2 years. I'd like to hit this savings target. Wouldn't it be great if we provided some dashboards that are accessible to members online that help them see where they're at towards those goals? And perhaps even some hints and some kudos and congratulations along the way. So it could be that we provide hints on, gee, I noticed that your savings deposits are quite erratic. We find that people tend to be more successful when they set up an automatic regular contribution into a savings account. Or, hey, we noticed that based on your target, you're 50% to your target, and ahead of schedule. Let's send a message to that member congratulating them for achieving their goal. Or your next payment is going to help you achieve your goal. Good luck finding your house. Again, providing that exceptional service. Beyond the expected or beyond the traditional financial service that we can really use to differentiate a credit union versus what the big banks are doing. And again, those things are all achievable. Those are just a few ideas. Again, there will be many more scenarios that emerge kind of as this digital wave and the wave of millennials really enter into the workforce, but you can see how these types of systems can really change the way you think about providing service.
Great. Thanks, Aaron. Thanks, Jeremiah. Thanks, Ben. That concludes our webinar for today, and thanks for joining us. Please feel free to email us if you have any questions for any three of our presenters today. You can email us at info@imaginet.com, or you can also view our website at www.imaginet.com. Thanks again for joining us today. Have a great day. Bye.